Dogs are, and I've always been, man's best friend. And if you don't believe that, here are a few stories that might change your mind. A dog's loyalty shows no bounds. It is perfectly captured in the story at number 1, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Here are the 10 most loyal dogs in the world. Number 10. Keeping her off the streets. When Donna Brazen took her newly born daughter Elyse home for the first time, her dog Becca seemed to roll her eyes to say, "Oh no, not another one." Yet, despite her reaction, Donna knew that Becca loved all her kids, no matter how many there were. 2 years later, Elyse was happily playing around while her dad washed the car. He didn't notice that Elyse decided to take a stroll down the street. Sensing that her little sister could be in danger, Becca circled around Elyse over and over again, preventing her from getting onto the street, keeping her in the grass. Luckily, one of their neighbors saw what was happening and quickly took tiny Elyse to safety. Nonetheless, if it wasn't for Becca recognizing the potential danger and acting accordingly, something horrible might have happened to Elyse. Number 9. Doggie's defense. The most loyal friend in the world would be willing to take a bullet for you. The same statement goes for the most loyal of dogs. This story shows us how selfless a loyal dog can be, especially when faced with life-threatening danger. While on a walk with his owner and owner's mom, Drogi selflessly put himself between his beloved humans and an attacker who was wielding a screwdriver against them. Though the assailant did manage to get a few slashes in, the damage was minimal, and authorities were ultimately able to apprehend the man thanks to Drogi's defense maneuvers. Number 8. Risking life and limb. Pit bulls have always gotten a bad reputation, mostly because they're viewed as savage and aggressive beasts primarily used for dogfighting. This didn't help when Michael Vick entered the scene, but that's another story. In reality, they can be the gentlest, most loyal dog breeds in the world. Although it is true that they look quite intimidating and are so strong that it's not advisable to have one when you have kids, it's this strength coupled with unbreakable loyalty that made the pit bull in this story a hero. Pit bull Lily and her owner Christine went out for a walk along the train tracks one day when Christine all of a sudden fainted. She fell right on the train tracks on the path of an incoming freight train. Lily pulled her owner to safety, but critically injured her front right leg in the process. It had to be amputated, sadly. Lily's family parlayed her valiant act into an incredible organization that raises awareness about rescue pit bulls just like her. Pit bulls are also often abandoned, despite their deep-seated capacity for love and loyalty. Number 7. Dog vs. Bus. Despite the title, I guarantee you that this story has a happy ending, so please stay with me. Figo was a seeing eye dog owned by Audrey Stone. Being legally blind, Audrey relied on Figo to lead her to safety every time they went outside. One day, Figo showed his true loyalty to Audrey when he literally jumped in front of a bus to save his mother. On his fateful day, both Audrey and Figo were out and about when all of a sudden an out-of-control minibus came barreling down the quiet street near Audrey's house. The bus went barreling straight towards Audrey and was mere seconds away from hitting her when Figo pushed her out of the way, getting hit by the bus instead. Audrey had been with her loyal service dog for about 6.5 years before the day of the crash. The bus driver, who claimed he didn't see Stone and the dog, was ticketed. Figo got donor-paid care at Middle Branch Veterinary Clinic, then returned to the Guide Dog Foundation to make sure he'd be able to continue as a guide dog after the traumatic incident. Here's the happy ending. After a few months of intense rehabilitation, Audrey and Figo are finally back together. Number 6. Dog vs. Snake. Haas is a 2-year-old German Shepherd rescued by the DeLuca family of Tampa, Florida. He was already a good companion to the DeLuca's 7-year-old daughter, Molly. But one day he really showed his appreciation for having been taken in by a loving family. Molly and Haas were playing poolside in their screened-in yard when her grandmother saw the 68-pound dog jumping around frantically and snapping his teeth. When she walked outside to make sure everything was okay, she realized a snake was attacking the pair. However, this wasn't just any snake. It was an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, known as the most venomous species of snake in all of North America. Terrified and locked in a state of panic, Molly's grandmother then witnessed Haas do the unthinkable. The protected pup stood his ground, standing between Molly and the snake. He risked his life to save Molly's as the snake bit him several times as he tried to shield Molly from the attack. Molly was completely unharmed, and although he received several venomous bites, Haas has made a full recovery. Number 5. A hiker's best friend. Dina Woos and her dog Bonnie were hiking along on a glorious outdoor adventure when disaster struck. Dina fell off a cliff and broke her leg in the process. Injured and with no other human beings anywhere in sight, Dina drifted into a panic. Just then, she looked up and saw Bonnie, her faithful companion, slowly descending the mountainside. This loyal dog says that her mother was in danger and just knew she had to find a way to come to the rescue. Obviously, Dina needed immediate medical attention. Fortunately, Bonnie was there not only to be a comforting soul for Dina, but also as a means of saving her mother's life. How, you might ask? Amazingly, Dina had the foresight of stashing her phone in a vest that Bonnie was wearing. Once Bonnie was at her side, she used the phone to call for help. Furthermore, Bonnie never left Dina's side and waited patiently until the rescue helicopter arrived. If Bonnie didn't come to her mom's aid in her time of need, who knows what would have happened. Number 4. Dog Hearing Aid. It's not uncommon to hear of our pets' amazing and heroic feats. They always seem to know exactly what to do and when. And when we find ourselves in a pickle, they're good companions to have around. Service dogs are especially helpful, and as we have already previously established with Figo, have on more than one occasion saved their owners' lives. 12-pound, 10-year-old pup Hook is one of those fearless animals. He may be small, but the Chihuahua and Jack Russell mix didn't hesitate to alert his hearing-impaired owner about the impending danger that was just out of sight. Hook's owner, Joyce, was about to cross the street when the dog started acting very strangely, jumping on her and pulling at her clothes. Then, out of nowhere, he yanked her backward. It was seconds later when Joyce saw a train zoom by, just inches from her face. Her beloved Hook had tried to warn her about the danger, but when she didn't listen, he took it upon himself to force her out of harm's way. Number 3. Saving a life via diaper. Dobermans have never had the best reputation as a family dog. They've always been viewed as aggressive, and with their streamlined bodies and intense-looking teeth, many people think they looked like sharks. And thus, these beautiful animals are often ignored in shelters. But for Catherine and her adorable 17-month-old girl named Charlotte, they knew in their hearts that a Doberman named Khan was going to be welcomed into their family and given the forever home that all animals deserve. Things were going perfectly fine, but as Charlotte was busy playing in the backyard with Khan, Mom noticed something odd about his behavior. He seemed more aggressive than she'd ever seen. Mom knew that Khan had been abused in his previous home, and suddenly there must have been a fear. Khan was pushing the little girl around and snapping his teeth. Before Mom had a chance to react, Khan grabbed Charlotte by her diaper and threw her a few feet across the yard. But suddenly, Mom heard a horrible yelp of pain. Khan had been bitten in the paw by a king brown snake, an extremely venomous snake that can easily kill a human. Had a girl of Charlotte's age and size been bitten, it could have had potentially deadly consequences. But Khan, bitten in the paw, kept the snake at bay. He stood between his little girl and the deadly creature. Barking at it angrily, in spite of the venom coursing through his veins, this amazing dog scared away the snake before collapsing. He was rushed to the vet where he received anti-venom, and he also made a full recovery. Now it's time for today's best pick. Here's a photo of a dog that went viral a few years ago. It shows a dog lying on her owner's grave, as if grieving for him. However, the photo isn't what it seems, and there is a beautiful secret behind it. Find out more next with number 2. Cemetery Dog. When this photo went viral a few years ago, people considered it proof that dogs are forever loyal to their owners. The captions accompanying this photo often said the dog was grieving over the death of its owner, and opted to stay by her owner's side, even digging a hole under the gravestone for her shelter. After seeing the famous photo, one woman decided to go to the cemetery and investigate the matter further. Vesna Mihajolski traveled to the grave, and once there, she found something amazing. The dog wasn't mourning at all. She was guarding something else completely. Under the gravestone, she had hidden her tiny newborn puppies. Without any food or water, the mom had fought hard to give her newborn pups a chance at survival. Luckily, Vesna stepped in to take care of the little family. Now, Vesna is focusing on helping the puppies and their mom get healthy again. For homeless and vulnerable dogs, it is virtually impossible to take care of a litter on their own and make sure everyone survives. But thanks to animal lover Vesna, everyone in this family got the care they needed. With enough food and water, the puppies and their mom have recovered well. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. Hachiko. If you love dogs, you've probably heard of the story of Hachiko, said to be the most loyal dog in the world. If you haven't, stick around because you'll hear what probably is the most touching story of a pet's love for his owner ever. Isabora Eno, a professor in agricultural science at Tokyo University in Japan, had long wanted a purebred Japanese Akita dog. He had looked for the perfect Akita puppy for a long time, until one of his students encouraged him to adopt Hachiko from the Odate city in the Akita prefecture of Japan. Hachiko, or Hachi, which became his nickname, and his new owner soon became best friends. Isaburo loved his dear dog above all and treated him as his son. The two of them were inseparable. Every single day, Hachiko sees his owner off to work in the morning at the train station in central Tokyo, and went to pick him up at the station in the afternoon when he returned from work. On May 21st, 1925, only 2 years after Hachiko was born, Hachiko was as usual sitting by the exit at the train station waiting for his dear Isaburo. However, Isaburo never showed up. As it turned out, Isaburo had suffered from a cerebral hemorrhage and died suddenly and unexpectedly while at work. Hachiko moved in with the former gardener of the Uno family. However, throughout the rest of his 10-year-long life, he kept going to the train station every morning and afternoon, precisely when the train was due to enter the station. He sat there for hours, patiently waiting in vain for the return of his beloved owner, which sadly never came back. Do you have a loyal dog? Let us know down in the comments section down below, and also make sure to give them a treat and a pet and maybe even a hug. Make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos as well. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.